Okay, so as I mentioned in my last vid, I'd asked whether or not anyone was curious or interested in what I have in my box exactly. So that's what we are doing today. Just going to go over them. Going to as quickly as possible, but without being too fast for everybody to see. I'm going to be going through all my figures and dupe spreads. Might say a thing or two here or there about the spreads I've got on them. For the most part, they're all just... I definitely have at least one version of every single variant to each UR figure, all do down under attack. I still view it as like the most overall useful stat in the game, because more attack is always nice also. And if you really need to get down to speed being an issue, that's generally when you can just slap on a Videl. And give me a minute, I am going to take just a quick second to minimize my window here, because that is going to get really annoying and distracting, seeing everything at once. Alright, much better. So, I got a buddy over right now. My brother and I had a lot of fun with him as usual. We've actually known him since... well, I've known him anyway since 2nd grade. I want to say my brother met him in 1st. We've known him well over 20 years by this point. Huge shoutouts to you, by the way, buddy. We are very lucky to have you as a friend. We got done playing a little bit of Diablo 3 on the Switch. It's a really good version. It's probably like the best go-to port if you were trying to do local co-op on the game. Switch, thankfully, has made it really easy in order to do so. And it's simplistic, but it's also in-depth, which I'm a fan of, because I have Gauntlet also. And I did have my fun with it, you know, the latest Gauntlet game. I just wish there was more to it, because really when you get down to it, all you're doing is you're going from room to room killing. And there's really not any objectives other than survival and to keep going. There really isn't that much lore to it either, even in story mode. It just feels a little bit unfinished, and I think where there was like the most story was probably Gauntlet Dark Legacy. I would say that is still the best Gauntlet game, but Gauntlet goes like way back. It was originally a really old arcade game. It still holds up to this day, even, I think. Yeah, I did forget, I did get another version of that Goku Black you just saw. I did have him all Dubin HP. And if you hear shouting in the other room, that's my brother and our buddy Mike. They're both silly knuckleheads, as Mike likes to say a lot. Yeah, and here is the one figure that I like to use so much of, Trunks. I don't use that one in particular very often. I did dupe them all in speed though. Just so that when I do want to use him as an 01 figure, he gets even faster. Like, it's obnoxious how quick he gets. Similar thing I also did here with Gohan. I get a lot of unique spreads on him just because there were a bunch of things I would think that he's capable of doing. Because I used to think he was a bit more underwhelming, but after just taking a bit to really sit back and look at his posing skill, it is really useful. The only thing that I don't like about him very much personally is his huge lack of defense and HP. It's very dangerous to use him as an 01 figure, I feel like. And then we got the androids. And apologies if it is a little bit boring with no music playing. I'm just wanting to show off what I got in my box here. And hopefully this won't take too long. I'm actually pretty tired right now. And we got Android 16 there. Next we got Hit. I do see the potential behind it. I just don't think he's all too good, personally. I think that the Focus Flash Vegeta, the harder hitting one, is just infinitely better. He goes behind Vados and everything, too. You don't really have to worry about damage reduction or even defense with how freaking hard he hits. Then we have Vados, one of the most broken figures in the game still. She is so freaking good. She's way too good. And that is probably my favorite Vados that I have, the one all duped into HP. With the SGC skills, just really excellent figure in general. Then there's the one with naturally more HP. I think I did do, yeah, I did do a dupe. Okay, so I duped her all in HP for one of them as well. And then there was another one where I just did pure defense. And as you saw earlier, I do have a bunch of defensive variants of Whis. So I did go ahead and make some of those. I can't believe I'm finally here, though. I have, like, a completely fully filled a box with the... I think this is probably the most amount of URs I've seen anyone have. Like, all of them are fully maxed out, fully duped out. It's pretty awesome. Being able to see all that at once. I couldn't imagine doing all that naturally. You would have to get very lucky with summons. You'd be summoning for quite a while, and even with the amount of TP medals I have, I could do that, but it's such a big time sink. And plus, I would also have to worry about constantly emptying out the box and making room for when I want to summon figures. And that would just become more and more of a pain to deal with, because of not just combining, but as soon as I get the figures that I need, that's gonna really limit me on spaces. But yeah, as you can see, I've got a lot of really powerful figures in my box. I really only use a set amount of them. Like, the ones you see that say in deck, those are the only ones I've got that have character skills equipped on them. Because as I've said in the previous video, I get paranoid about if I have all these figures with character skills on them, I'm worried about whether or not they are going to eventually run out if I want to, like, do another deck. So to keep it simple, and so I don't have that nagging me in the back of my head all the time, I just only put in character skills for figs that I've got in my deck. And thankfully it's very easy to see and spot those. Another thing I'm very, very thankful for when they introduced it was the lock feature, so you don't accidentally delete, you know, some of the figures that you really want to keep, and then later on you get rid of it and you're like, oh crap, what happened to it? I wish I wouldn't have done that. Which I have seen, unfortunately, happen a bit to Mugs. That really does suck. I think it's happened a few times to Rock and Robo as well. Thankfully, we're moving right along through these. I got a lot of Vegetos. As you can see, he's just really good of a figure, so there was no reason for me not to make a bunch of him. Then we have a Mega Shenron here, the original one, which is really underwhelming. And we got the new Blue Goku. It was very decent, all things considered, especially if you, like, put him in the middle of Whis and Vados. He's even more ridiculous. One thing I kind of wish they would have done, though, for Vados is give her trigger square. Give her, like, a trigger square in the upper middle and the upper right, so you have flexibility in case you're also wanting to run Champa and God forbid Beerus, but of course he's not that good, but you know, it's fine that she's only got the upper right. She's really good at a figure. I think that would actually make her even more broken and more flexible, because you could just put her in front of Super Saiyan 4 Goku and just constantly decrease the enemy damage, so that would actually be kind of broken. Now that I think about it. I got a bunch of Adele's as well. There were a bunch of things I wanted to do with her. And plus the one that I got that's duped all in the speed, I already happen to have one of those, thankfully, so I was able to do that other video for Sadaf. I think it was Asmir Sadaf. Pretty sure it's Asmir Sadaf. Yeah, that was one of his other suggestions. And then this is the spread that I personally recommend, at least for the original attack UI Goku, because he's easily gonna die if you can't outspeed and kill everything in front of him, and you want him to last, especially if you're trying to lower the enemy's ultimate attack damage, which can be very detrimental to you and your team. Let me go back and look at that really quick, actually. You know, I'm thinking about making a dupe of him where he's duped entirely on the defense, but I mean, should I even bother? No, I'll sit on it for right now and think about that later. I would have to convert one of my figures into him, of course. Because here's the thing with UI Goku anyway, even the HP one, he's really not that tanky. Like, no matter what you do with him for the most part, and he's got a spot in the upper right, he's still very vulnerable. More or less, why bother? And I know he hits, you know, decently hard enough to the point where you can really put him anywhere. But I like building him up, personally. I'm actually thinking about making a couple more variants of him just so that I have one that not only has more defense, but one that also has a lot more speed to bring to the team. I'm probably not going to do it, though. I mean, I said that about Whis. I would really have to think hard on that. I would also want him to hit decently hard enough to deal with what's in front of him. Because, yeah, he doesn't have a lot of defense to back up that 10,000 HP. Although the 10,000 HP is still very, very good. I will give him that. I think, personally, though, he would be better utilized if I were to... Say, for example, I'm using that team that I often use. You know, my go-to deck. What I could do instead, actually, is keep decreasing the enemy attack with Vados and Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And then if I lose Vados, or it gets to a point where the enemy's ulting and I need to stop it, I can actually put him on there and also build him up. So that's another option. I don't think UI Goku's terrible. The original UI Goku, either variant, are both amazing. They both do such great work for you and your team. I don't know, though. I don't really use them too much. They seem kind of risky to use, in my opinion, if anything. Very beneficial for you, though, if you can pull it off. And this is probably another one of my favorite figures, Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. Particularly the harder hitting one, I think, is better. Alright, I'm sorry, not the harder hitting one. The one with, I think he's got less speed and more HP. He's got plenty of room for growth and build-up anyway, so... And I did make a couple more Keflas, one duped all into... not just attack, but I wanted to round out her speed and attack pretty well. And then I made another variant that's just all speed, because if you go first, you can keep building up that attack. And keep getting stronger, anyway. And then I forgot if I made a couple of evenly duped out spreads of Gogeta, Blue Gogeta. Looks like no, I thought I might have. Oh, I did for this version anyway. He's a really good figure. I should actually use a couple of these more often. It's just I'm really comfortable already with the decks that I use on a frequent basis, and I'm still keeping the waifu deck. That's like my favorite running gag deck that I have. And we are just coming up to the last couple batches of Uras here. Thankfully, we're not going through like the entire list. That would take even longer, because then I'm gonna have to show off all the, not just the URs, but of course all the SRs, the Rs, and the Ns. I thought about doing a vid showcasing, you know, every single figure up to date in one vid, but I've already kind of done that with all the other batches, and plus it would just kind of be repeat content, I think. And the Santa 18 and Vidal are not terrible. My biggest issue with them personally, though, is that once you put them on the field and use their skill, that's it. Like, the stats are for that turn and that turn only. The team does not keep the speed buff, and I am not a fan of that. Same with, I think it was defense for Vidal. Like, it is just for that turn right then and there, which in my opinion is not very good. It's once only. And then we have the most hard-hitting figure in the game, the Karate Chop Blue Evolve Vegeta. And one of them I had duped fully into speed, purely because it was a recommendation by Unleashed, and I am in full agreement with it. Because you can really just easily outspeed and build them up. That way, unless of course you're dealing with a faster team that just so happens to have a Vidal, then it becomes kind of scary to do that, but still doable. You just gotta be pretty careful about how you go about doing it. Especially since you more or less leave your master wide open. And while amazing and very, very hard-hitting, he doesn't have the greatest HP and defense, so you can still very easily take him out. You know, he's not entirely broken. And we have Ribrianne, which both versions of completely suck no matter what you do with them. And then we got Android 21, who's still an amazing figure in general. I did something similar with her that I did with Gogeta, where I've got her at least 3,000 speed and at least 7,000 in attack, very well rounded. I got one on HP to keep her around more often, since of course she's only in the front. But thankfully, it is nice that they give you that option of having her in any of the spots in front. You could do quite a bit with that. You could even put her in front of Goku. You could put her in front of original Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You could put her in front of Focus Vegeta. There are a lot of things you can do with her. You can even put her on the field with Vados and easily have Focus Vegeta protected, and that would be very, very dangerous to go against. That would do so much damage. And then we have one of what I think is one of the most broken figures in the game, the End of Z Goku figure we've got here. And I like the one that I have here, all duped out into HP. Because as you all know, I did show off that deck I had where I got him also paired up with Goku. It basically makes him even more useful as a result, because not only can he go in front of Goku and protect him, Goku's also getting defense, and Goku's just adding a bunch of attack, then to Z Goku in return. So they're very, very busted together and symbiotic. And once you start giving Goku his defense boost, you can put Goku off the field. Obviously, you might want to keep him on at least for a couple turns to get End of Z Goku built up. But that is something you can do to safely keep him building up defense, because he'll get it even when he's off the field. He just needs to start getting the boost. But as you can see, we're coming up to the tail end of what I got in my box here. And I think my cat might be meowing. I'm gonna have to go take care of that in a sec here, I think. I might just be mishearing. I hope I am anyway. He's such a good boy. He's really rambunctious and needs attention a lot. He's like a little kid, but he's my boy and we all still love him. He really is a good boy. When he's on me, though, I gotta keep deathly quiet, especially when he's licking himself. Because it was funny, I was trying to like take a sip of my beer, and what ended up happening was all I said was "good boy" out loud while he was licking himself on me. It startled him, and thankfully he didn't get me too badly. He nipped my nose a little bit, and it shocked me, and I spilled a little bit of my beer on myself, just in my hand. But other than that, I think he knew he screwed up, because he was like, "Oh crap, I just bit Papa," and then he like went off and went up into his bed. But it's fine. He was just startled. But yeah, that is what I've got in my box. I hope you all enjoyed. Thought I would go ahead and put that up since Vegeta Ultra Instinct would wanted to see that. More than likely, I'm not going to be changing up at all what I've gotten there. I'm not even going to bother, I don't think, with getting more versions to be like Goku, seeing as I don't really use them that often. And plus, I'm satisfied and happy with what I've already got. But anyway, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you all have a good night, and I will see you in the next one. And yeah, be sure to let me know if any of you would like to see me do that playthrough with Booth. Sorry, I gotta get these belches out. Let me know if you want to see me do that playthrough with Boosphere. I wouldn't mind doing that for the channel. It's actually one of my favorite JRPGs. Pretty fun game. But I won't take up any more of your nice folks' time. I hope you all have a good night. Be safe and healthy out there. And peace. I'll see you in the next one.